if you're watching the replay, or if you're watching right now, this is the replay. We're no longer live, but welcome. Today I'm going to be making a Becca handbag. The pattern is going to be in the description if you'd like to purchase it. Let's go ahead and get started with our connectors. We have four shoulder strap connectors, so 2 on each side, plus we have the crossbody strap connector. I'm using D-rings instead of squares, so they're all going to be the same. This is being recorded on TikTok, so I'm just going to wait for my TikTok friends to jump on. Hey Jennifer! Happy New Year! I'm just putting some double-sided tape right along the center of each of them. Then we'll get them folded and sewn on. Hi Connie B! Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Alright. I'm going to cut a little extra tape. Let's do our shoulder straps first, and then we'll do the crossbody straps. So I'll set 2 of these aside. Hi! Northern Arizona. I bet that's nice and warm up there. Which today is going to get, I think I saw 60 degrees. I'm very excited about that for it to be January. Hi stars. I'm actually not in Hawaii anymore. I am in Northern Virginia. We moved in June or July. That time period for me kind of all ran together, so I don't know what was what. It's cold and supposed to snow today. Oh no. That's crazy. I looked at the weather this morning and it looks like it's going to be 60 today, like 52 tomorrow. So it's going to warm up just a little bit. Back in the States, well, the mainland, because Hawaii is a state. But that's okay, I know what you meant. Yeah, I'm missing the warm weather out there for sure. Alright. I know what you meant. Alright, so this is the way that the shoulder strap and crossbody strap pattern piece is, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold up this bottom edge, which is going to make it a finished edge. Push that into the tape. Oh, let's block this person. The news just said it's snowing in Hawaii. No way. Really? Well, I will say that especially like on the Big Island, there's a lot of mountains in Hawaii, and so the top of the mountains, they definitely do see snow every now and then. Not on my island though. I don't think that on Oahu, well, my old island, I don't think that there's any mountains tall enough to get that type of weather on Oahu, but I do remember seeing on the Big Island, they would get snow every now and then. Hi Laura. Hey Sheila. Hi Miranda. I'm good. This New Year's has started off really slow for me, so I know I haven't been on live and I apologize about that, but I've been doing like a lot of crocheting and just like relaxing. You know, I don't know what it is about just taking time away from the daily grind and just doing things that you love. Now I love sewing, don't get me wrong, But I love doing so many other things too. And so being able to just take a little bit of time away and do that has been everything. Hi, Cleo. Are you making handbags? Yeah, so we're making this style right here. And it's going to be in the We the People print. So the front and back are pockets. Just like this. So this is kind of what it's going to look like when it's done. Hi, Sherry. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and attach our shoulder strap connectors. You are my sewing time because I don't have time, I know. It takes a lot of time. Hi, Angie, Happy New Year. Yes, I agree, Miranda. All right, so the tape on the back is just gonna hold that in place until we get a chance to sew it down. But that's essentially what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna do it for the front and the back. I feel so unproductive from a work perspective because I haven't really been getting a whole lot of stuff done. But again, for my personal sanity, it's been amazing. You too, Laura. Hi, Linda. Happy New Year. All right. That side straight down and let's sew. I just put a brand new needle in my sewing machine because I did do a lot of sewing yesterday and I couldn't remember the last time I changed my needle, so it's definitely time. Let me get my little Peltex. Once I slow down, well, true. It's good just to take some time just to do what you enjoy outside of your regular everyday. A lot of people aren't afforded that opportunity. I get that. But even on like a day off, take a little bit of time for yourself. Alright. So that's what it looks like stitched on. So that's just taped in place and that one is stitched down. And I'm just going to do the exact same thing for the other three. How do you guys feel about a ASMR live where I just don't do any talking but you can just watch me sew? You think that would be boring? I want to know for the people watching the replay too, because if it would, I won't do it. Hi, Mama Amazing. I'm just going to singe down my little pieces of thread. There we go. So that's essentially what the front and the back is going to look like. Hi, Celtic. No, it's like ASMR. Oh, Linda said no. Mama Amazing said no. If I'm watching therapeutic, yes, sounds good. It doesn't matter. It's relaxing either way. No, not boring. Any tips making interface lining less of a chore? No. Unfortunately, the lilac needle, it's a necessity. Not a fan of just ASMR. Yes, I like ASMR, so it's kind of halfsies. So now that we're back to our regular scheduled program, and the holidays are behind me, so the custom orders are pretty much, for the most part, the craziness is behind me. I still have a few in the works. We're going to start doing our lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I want to do like an AM and PM time, so like Tuesday, noon, Thursday, like 4 or 5. I haven't worked it out for sure. Probably the next time I go live, I will be able to let you know for sure. Alexa, sometimes I'm just listening to you. Got it. So what I might do, I'll have 2 days of regular sewing, and then I might just have like one day, an extra day, like a bonus day of just watching and listening, but me not talking. But I can do 2 regular lives for sure per week. That is done. And then I'm going to show you how I do my crossbody strap connectors on this bag, because this is a larger bag, which means it can hold a lot of weight, and you want to just reinforce those crossbody straps. For the shoulder strap, there's 4 total, right? 2 on each side. But for the crossbody strap, there's only 2, 1 on each side. So I want to just reinforce that, since all of the weight is going to be on those 2. Hey Susan, Happy New Year. I like the interaction. Alright, so here are the sides to the bag. And we're going to do our crossbody straps, but I like to add a little bit of Peltex behind the side piece, just to reinforce those stitches. So instead of the crossbody strap just being sewn to this one layer of vinyl, it's actually going to be sewn to this Peltex as well. So again, it just gives it a little something extra to hang on to. Happy New Year, Amber. All right, so let me get these folded up. Some more tape. I'm gonna add some double-sided tape down the center of my Peltex. That's gonna hold it in place while I sew it down. What bag are you making? The Becca. Is there a pattern done for the smaller? But yeah, the pattern piece. So it's not a new pattern. I've just created pattern pieces where you can print it and scale it down, or print it and scale it up if you want it bigger. My testers are currently testing. I believe the cutoff date was this weekend, so by Monday, if you've purchased the pattern already, you'll just get the pattern pieces in an email that you can scale up or down. But it's not a new pattern. All right, last one. Do you think this would make a good diaper bag? Yeah, I've actually had people purchase these for diaper bags, because you have 2 outside slip pockets, and then on the inside you have a zipper pocket and a slip and a dual. Well, I'm gonna make it dual slip. So I would say yes. And you can tell by the bottom that there's just, it can fit a ton of stuff inside of it. It's got a zipper closer, so you got, like, you can grab, you know, wipes or diapers right out of there. And then on the inside, it has a ton of space. So we have a dual slip pocket here, and then a zipper pocket, oh, vice versa, dual slip pocket here, zipper pocket here. So yeah, it holds a ton of stuff. Hi Jen. Sorry, trying to work and watch at the same time. This is called the Becca. Let's leave that paper out. Alright, so we're going to add the Peltex to the back. I'm just going to center it approximately where my connectors are going to be on the front. Tape that down, and then tape down my connectors. The front slip pockets could you use PU fabric to make it PU? What's PU? It's not coming to me. You can use anything to make the front pockets. You can use cotton, you can quilt cotton, you can use anything. Waterproof canvas, you can use anything for it. I would just interface it if it's a lighter material. So if it was like a cotton, I would just use like one layer of SF101. But you could also use something thicker if you want it thicker. I just had a baby saw me baking. PU is water resistant and it's kind of laminated. They use it a lot. Oh, I see. Yeah, of course. All right, so we have those taped down. We have the Peltex on the back, and we're going to be sewing through all of these layers. I used a 4.5 stitch for the front, 4.5 size stitch for the front. I'm going to use a 4 for the side, just a little bit smaller. Oh, pull, yeah. PUL. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I was like, PU? Never heard that before. There we go. So that is stitched in place. Again, it has an extra layer, something else to hold on to, because all of the weight on the bag is going to be right on these two connectors. And then I'm just going to trim this down, just so we don't have any bulkiness in the back. You could also use a rivet. I think on this bag right here, I didn't add the Peltex to the back side, so I just added a rivet. I don't know, you should be able to see that, a little rivet right here. So if you don't have any Peltex, you can definitely do that. All right, let's do the other side. Hi, Judy. Happy New Year. All right. Those are all done. There we go. So we have our crossbody strap connectors. We did our shoulder strap connectors. Let's go ahead and start working on just finishing up the outside of the bag. Then we'll do the interior. So many pieces. Okay. So this is the lining, this is the pocket. We're just going to sew right sides together along the top, flip it over, do a top stitch. It was 82 degrees here yesterday. It's supposed to be 80 today. Oh, nice. That's nice and warm. I was just saying that it is going to be 60 degrees here today. So once I'm done with this, I'll probably take my dogs. OUTSIDE. I can't say the word or they'll go crazy. Loving the house too. I know, isn't that so pretty? My niece, just make sure the direction is right. My niece has been staying with us. She goes to college about 15 minutes away. And during winter break, because she lives in a dorm, she had to get all of her stuff out. So she's been staying with us. And she went to a conference this past weekend, and she wanted a bag to take with her. So she came downstairs, and I was letting her look at all of my bags, and I was like, this one, because she didn't want any color, she didn't want any print, she wanted something super plain. And I was like, this one is amazing. And she was like, no. But that's the one that I would have picked if I were her. She wound up just taking, I have a black quilted Tiffany that I put some crossbody strap connectors on. She wound up taking that. This one's to go to tomorrow's hobby. Alright, so we're just going to fold that over, clip the bottoms together. That way everything is nice and lined up so that we can do a top stitch. Susan, tell me again where you are. Alright, that's all top stitched. We're going to just add that to the front and back panel and sew those down. Albuquerque. There we go. So we're just going to line this up along the bottom, clip it in place, and then just sew it down. The side, the bottom, and the side. That way the top is open for the slip pocket. I'm just going to add a couple clips. Clip that in place. Do the same thing with the other one. Just baste that in place. And then now we have our outside slip pocket. Let me add a nameplate to the front. This side is the front. I'm just going to center it right between the two connectors. Thanks, Sherry. It's 49 degrees, rain and fog in southern Arizona. Are you doing the drop-in lining? No, this one I'm not. You could. This one I'm just doing it based off of the pattern. This one might be a little bit different with the drop-in lining. So the look of it is going to be a little bit different, and I'll show you what I mean. So I did a drop-in lining with this. The Becca has a zipper panel closure, and it's actually sewn down. So if you look at the zipper kind of concaves in, and that's because when we top stitch the outside, the zipper is in a down position, where when we do a drop-in lining with this zipper panel, the zipper is in an upwards position. And that's because it's just tucked in between the lining and the outside when we just drop it in and do a sew around the outside. So can you do this to the Becca? Yes, but you're going to have your zipper upward facing instead of downward facing like this is. You can do it though. It's just going to change the look of the zipper. And if you're okay with that, you can definitely do it. I don't know if I have a preference one over the other as far as a downward zipper or an up zipper. I guess it's just preference. We're just going to add the bottom, which I did add some Peltex. Okay. And then just flip that up and do a top stitch. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Hi Terry. I'm just starting to cut another can at 85%. I love that size. I never realized how much pre-work you do. Yes, there's a lot of prep work. Cut, interface. It doesn't sound like a lot, but cutting all of the different pieces out, you have to do pieces for the outside and then pieces for the inside. It's a lot of prep work. But that's what bag making is. Somebody asked earlier if there was an easier way to help with the prepping process, and there really isn't. I mean, the only thing that I have that makes my job a lot easier is if you use like regular scissors. A cutting mat and rotary cutter have saved a ton of time. And then I have a steam press, which for my interfacing just helps it go through super fast. But you still have to cut. What was the name of the cheetah print bag on your site? That is the tote, the one that I just showed. So if you go to my website, go under the menu, shop by style, and then click on bags. It's going to be under tote. Alright, these are the sides with the crossbody strap connectors we just prepped. I'm just sewing those down. Same thing on the other side. Alright, and then now all we're going to do is just pull up our side panel. Let me do that. Well, okay, this. And then sew the front and back together to the side, and that's going to finish up the exterior. So pull each side up. I'm going to clip it together and then we'll sew down. Does your niece like sewing? No. She likes Netflix. I don't know what it is with like teenagers these days. So I try to like think back to when I was her age, and she's only 19. I graduated high school when I was 17. I got my first apartment when I was 18. I like fell into a really good job. And at 18, I didn't want to do anything either. Granted, we weren't big on, like, we didn't have a lot of platforms like TikTok, and I don't even think we had Instagram. I think Facebook was all we had then, and MySpace. I didn't want to sit in front of a computer, though. I wanted to go out and hang out with my friends. And she's kind of the same way. But I think just her being raised in the years that she was raised with computers, cell phones, all the apps, I don't know, like last night, my husband and I were going to play Monopoly. And she came downstairs for dinner, and I was like, do you want to play Monopoly with us? And she was like, no. 19-year-old girls. Alright, so just pulled the sides up, connected them to the front and the back, and then now we're just going to sew it down. My kids are the same. I'm using a size 18 needle. Hey, Deanie! I'm going to put on with my mom so I can't stay. Thanks for saying hi. Happy New Year. Kind of an awkward angle sewing this side. Thread just came out. And just make sure I didn't miss that corner. I'm just gonna stitch right over top of it. Hi, Debbie. And I'm just going to trim down a little bit of the corner on the sides. We have quite a few layers. Remember, we have the front, we have the side, and then we have that pocket that we have sewn into our seam right here. So there's quite a few layers, so I'm just going to get rid of a little bit of that bulkiness. Dog's whining. Sorry if you hear that. I don't want to clip too close to my stitch line. There we go. So just getting a little bit of that bulkiness out of that seam. All right, we're going to turn this right side out. Hi, Ellis. And then I'm going to prep the zipper closure at the top of this. Can you hear her, Sherry? There we go. Just gonna push my hardware down. So this is essentially what it's going to look like when it's all done. I got the front slip pocket, back slip pocket, crossbody strap connectors. All right, let me grab panels for my zipper. I'm going to flare open the top of my zipper. see if she has to go outside. I'm just gonna let her out real quick. You wanna go outside, puppy? Come on. Quiet, Butters. Sorry about that. That machine be able to sew a bag with leather versus the vinyl. I have seen people use this machine and sew leather. Sometimes my neighbors keep their dogs on the patio, and so they get a little feisty when they see Butters, and then Butters gets a little feisty back. Alright, so I just flared that open, and then we're going to sew it down. So we just sewed that open, and then I'm just going to trim off the excess on the side. And then hit that with the lighter. I haven't seen you in so long, but forgot your TikTok name. Alright, so now what we're going to do is sew our zipper panel right along the top and then right along the bottom. I'm going to use some double-sided tape, hold everything in place. I'm going to put it about 1/4 inch down from the top. And what that's going to allow me to do is it's going to hold this side down, but it's also going to leave some exposed, so that way when I put the back on here, it's going to stick to that tape as well. You can use 1/4 inch tape and then on both sides if you want. This will just save you a little bit of tape and time. Butters. Hold on, let me go let my other dog back in. Stay. Come on, Becky. Come on. Okay, sorry about that. Happy New Year's, Al. Alright, so I'm going to line this up. There we go. So see how that's holding that one side, but it's still leaving some exposed tape. That way I can line up this other one and it'll tape it in place as well. Just like that. So one piece of tape is holding both sides. I'm just going to adjust it so it's perfectly lined up. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Perfect. There we go. Line this up. Push that into the tape. Make sure we are nice and lined up. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and just sew that down. I like to open up my zipper. That way it gives me the space I need. sew about an 1/8 inch. And that way, when I'm sewing down, because my tape started 1/4 of an inch and I'm sewing above that, I'm not sewing into my tape. And that's what it looks like. And then do the same thing on the other side. And then now I'm just going to add the zipper end. Anytime you cut your zipper, you want to hit it with a lighter so it doesn't fray. Going to draw a line down the center. Add some double-sided tape. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Debs. The brown checkered flag behind you. Thank you, Elle. It's one of my favorite. And if it doesn't sell soon, I do not mind putting it in my closet. At all. I think I had a zip around wallet in that print. That one sold really fast. Hi, Kathy. Alright, so we're going to lay our zipper teeth side down a little short of that center line. Just about there. Take off the tape on the other side. Fold it over so that the edge on the back meets. And then sew that in place. So that is what it looks like. See that little bit of gap right there on the edge? That's why we shorten it to the line. We don't go all the way up to the line because this amount of fabric right here still needs a place to go. And so if we put it all the way to the line and then folded it over, the back would actually be short. So let's sew this down. And then instead of cutting my threads, my tails, when I first started sewing, when I come back up, I'm going to sew over those to kind of lock them in place. There we go. Let me cut the end of my thread and then I'll show you what I did with the beginning thread. So you can kind of tell where I started, and then when I came down, I actually sewed back over those and then sewed up to lock those in place. There we go. So our zipper panel is all done. We're going to take our bag. I'm going to lay the zipper panel right along the edge, clip that in place. Do you see? Hawaii. Somebody was telling me that. I didn't see that Hawaii got snow, but somebody in the comments were saying that happened. That was on the news. Hi, Tammy Klein. Good afternoon. All right, and then I'm going to unzip it, flip this over to the other side, and then clip that in place. I'm gonna go look for it as soon as I'm done with making this bag. Was it the Big Island that got the snow? There we go. So I'm just going to stitch this in place. I just have a little piece of thread. I'm just going to stitch the zipper in place, and while I do that, I'm going to open up my side seam and sew those down flat, and that's just going to be beneficial when we join the interior and exterior together. Where can I buy your patterns? They're listed on my website, butterbags.com. And under the menu, you want to go to DIY, and then they're under digital patterns. gonna sew around the entire top. Again, opening up those side seams, that's what I'm doing right now. Sewing them flat. And then I'll show you up close what it looks like when I'm done. Just trimming my thread where I started. Opening up that side seam. Sewing it open. There we go. So that's what it looks like stitched on, the zipper panel. And then I just stitched open my side seams on both sides. I'm going to set this aside and work on the interior. So the only pre-work that I did was my slip pocket. So there's a difference on this, the way that I'm doing now versus the pattern. I enlarged my pocket to be 10 inches total. And the reason for that is because I'm just going to section it off. And then I cut a piece of vinyl 10 inches by 1 inch. I added a line down the center, and this is just going to be an accent piece for the top of the pocket. So what I did is I put my two pieces right side together. I sewed along the side, the bottom, the top. I did not sew along here. Turned it right side out, ironed it down, and then I just did a stay stitch along the top, or base stitch along the top. So the top is raw, right? You can kind of see the back of it. The side, the bottom, and this side are a finished edge. And the reason why the top doesn't need, the reason why I leave that open is because one, it's easier to turn it right side out, but we don't need it closed because we're going to be adding this accent piece on the top. So I'm just going to add some double-sided tape along the top and the bottom to keep it in place. The big island, yeah, I figured that. The pattern comes in a PDF, yes. So the tape is just going to keep it on the cotton while we sew it together. It's just going to hold it in place. You don't need tape. You can just use clips if you want. So I'm going to line up the edge that has not been sewn closed. Remember, that's just the raw edge. I'm going to line it up a hair shy of that center line. And then fold this over. Tape is holding everything in place, and then we'll sew it down. So I'm going to make one stitch along this side and then one stitch along this side. And then I'm just going to trim down the excess material on the sides. Hi, Jilly. There we go. So that's what it looks like stitched down. And then I'm just going to trim off this excess. I'm going to take an inside panel. And this is interfaced with SF101 or woven interfacing. Grab my ruler so I can make sure it's nice and centered. Go. Grab my pins. I'm just going to pin this down to hold it in place with a raw edge. So this doesn't have a raw, oh, you're talking about the vinyl? Yes, it does. You can't really tell though. Excuse me. can't really see. The raw edge is under there, and you're not really going to be able to see it, especially because it's going to be on the inside of the bag. All right, we're going to sew down the sides and the bottom. You can fold and then fold the other side to have a finished edge. It's just going to be a super thick piece of vinyl. It's going to add another 2 layers to it. But if that's what you want to do, you can definitely do that. All right. Pocket is stitched down. Get rid of my pins. Hi Stacy, just asking because I remember you never do a raw. Sometimes I do. Yes, I never do a raw edge on with cotton, but for vinyl, yeah, sometimes I'll have a raw edge. So for example, like this zipper, there's a raw edge along the zipper. So some of my bags have them, some of them don't. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just go in 3 inches, make a mark, and then stitch that down to separate the pocket. So I'm using a friction pin. Let me turn on my iron. My iron gets the ink out. I'm not going to draw all the way to the top because my iron gets the ink out. If I draw all the way to the top, when my iron gets here, it could melt my vinyl. So I'm just gonna start about a 1/2 inch below there. And that'll just give me a guideline. Happy New Year. All right, so I like to sew up and then sew back down. I like to back stitch at the top, come over 1 stitch, and then start, back stitch, and then come all the way down. I'll show you up front what it looks like. You can kind of tell on the back how it's sectioned off. But that's what it looks like on the front side. I can't even see the pin mark, so it wouldn't be necessary, but I'll just do it because that's good practice. All right, cinching my little threads where I started and stopped. So this is going to be the side that has the dual slip pockets. So 1 full size and then 1 smaller one for like pens or lip glosses or whatever people use. Now we're going to do the zipper pocket for the other side. All right, so we're going to start with one of our interior zipper pocket pieces. We're going to have it right side up. This is wrong side, this is right side. We're going to take our zipper right side or teeth side up. So this is the right side, this is the wrong side. You can't see the zipper teeth, you can see the zipper teeth and zipper pull on this side, right side. Right side up on our fabric, right side up on our zipper, and we're going to lay that along the top and then sew that down. Right side, right side. Gonna back down the tension. All right. Now for the other piece of our zipper pocket, we're going to do the exact same thing. Right side of our zipper. Line those up and then sew it down along the top. Somebody said that they struggle with this my last live, and if you just remember right side, you should be fine. There we go. Alright, and then now what I'm going to do is just open this up and just iron it flat. I don't normally iron on my table. There we go. I'm gonna open this up, trim off this excess zipper, set this aside. This is going to be our zipper panel that this is going to be sewn into. So I'm going to grab my other interior lining, some double-sided tape on the back of this. One along the top, one along the bottom. Take the backing off. Measure down. Center it. Press that into the tape. There we go. So that is what it looks like. And then we're going to sew along the outside edge of the zipper panel overlay, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to backstitch when I start and stop. Instead, I'm going to pull my thread through. That way it's going to look like a seamless stitch, just one seamless stitch all the way around. I'm going to pull my thread through. Keep going. I don't sew over my thread. I got the little puzzle piece game. This is a Juki 1181. I've never seen a zipper pocket with the panel sewn this way. Oh, really? I mean, there's many different ways that you can do it. Hey, Brenda. Thanks, Mama Amazing. Yeah, there's quite a few ways that you can do a zipper overlay. This is just my preferred. All right, so the goal is to stop stitching in the same hole that I started stitching, and that's gonna help make it look seamless. So let me pull my thread through and then I'll show you up close, if you use this technique, what it looks like. I'm gonna just knot those threads together. Where's my ring? I said on my last live that I banged it on my sewing machine. I was grabbing something and banged it and a diamond flew out, so it's getting repaired. The crazy thing is that the diamond landed like right here on my table. I mean, it could have flown off, it could have gone anywhere, but it landed right here on my table. So I just grabbed a piece of tape, taped it up, put it in a bag, took it to go get fixed. Okay, so you can kind of tell where I started and where I stopped right here. This stitch right here. Normally when you sew, you back stitch to lock in your stitches. You go all the way around, and when you come back, you back stitch again, and that will just show layers of stitching, and that's okay. But doing it this way, pulling your thread through, it just looks like one seamless stitch around your zipper overlay. Is it worth the time? On an interior piece, I would say no. Do a couple back stitches, save yourself a couple seconds. It's kind of a habit at this point, which is why I do it. Now, if your zipper overlay was on like the outside of the bag, I would say yeah, it's definitely worth taking just a couple of seconds, pull your threads through, knot them off, just so it looks a little bit more seamless. But on the inside lining, whoever buys this bag, they're probably never going to know. I use a Mara 70 thread. I use Gutermann. And then we're just going to get this fabric outside, cut down. And it looks pretty, exactly. It does look pretty. But before I started making bags, I would have never looked on the inside of a purse that I bought at the store and looked at the stitching. Sewists do, right? I look at stitching on everything now. But people who don't do this would probably never know. Do I miss Hawaii? I miss the weather. The people were really nice too, so I missed that. There's a lot of things I miss. There's a lot of things I don't miss. So yes and no. All right, so we got all the fabric outside of that zipper overlay, and now we can go ahead and add our actual zipper pocket. So I'm just going to center this zipper pocket into that overlay and then sew around the inside. Again, back stitch, pull your stitches through, do whatever you want. What are you doing? I'm making a purse. I get so disappointed when I look at stuff. Yeah. I can't remember whose code. Oh, I think I was just in a random, was I at the doctor's office? I think I was at the doctor's office, and there was this lady who was sitting in front of me, and she had on like this really pretty sweater, but like I could see the double stitching on the arm, and I was like, why did they do it like that? And like her jacket was green and the stitching was white. So I definitely noticed stuff like that now. But before I started sewing, I would have never known. And she probably didn't care either. Thanks. Wish I could stay, but I got a dentist appointment. Bye, Diana. All right, we're gonna pull the thread through. I do that in church. Look at purses. Me too. I do that everywhere I go. I'm like that, but with embroidery. Thanks, Maro. I don't know if it's perfect, but I really try to put out a quality product. I don't want anybody looking at my product and being like, why did she sew it that way? That looks so weird. Because I do that to everybody. Coming back to the beginning, I'm going to start where I stopped. Stopped where I started. Pull my thread through, knot them off. Already purchased the black front for the zipper. Makes it look so much. So I actually have a free pattern. Are you talking about the zipper overlay right here? I have a free pattern on my website where you can download it, and you can, if you want to make it. So if you just go to butterbags.com, on the menu it's under DIY, digital patterns, and I believe it's like the second pattern listed. It just says zipper overlay. Nothing is new with care at all mass production yet. Yes. Alright. So we have our zipper sewn in to that overlay. That's my iron going off. We had our zipper pocket open while we sewed that down. I'm just going to pull the top down, and then I'm just going to trim it up so everything is nice and even. There we go. Turn my iron back on. Gonna need that. So now what I'm going to do is just sew along the sides to secure the pocket together. We're going to leave the bottom of the pocket open. This bag is sewn inside out, so we're going to turn the bag right side out through the zipper pocket. So we need to leave an opening. Some people leave an opening in the bottom, some people leave an opening in the sides. I like to go through my zipper pocket. Alright, so we're going to sew this together on this side. And then sew it together on this side. Trim this excess fabric off, and then remember, anytime you cut your zipper, you want to get into the habit of hitting it with a lighter so it doesn't fray. So you want to just pull your fabric back away from where the zipper is. Just singe that down. Same thing over here. That'll keep it from unraveling. Alright, now what we're going to do is create a finished edge for our zipper pocket. So when we turn everything right side out and we sew this closed, it'll already be prepped. So you just roll it up. Roll it down until everything is the right size. And then we're just going to hit that with our iron. That's just gonna, the iron is gonna keep it folded like that. There we go. So our zipper pocket is all done. And we have left it open so that we could turn the bag right side out. Okay, that's all the prep work for the inside. So we're gonna put all the inside pieces together. Just like the outside, we're gonna take one side piece, put our bottom on, What I will say is that when I am interfacing a lot of my bottom pieces, I usually just piece together leftover interfacing that I have. So like these really tiny pieces, you're never going to know this is going to be the bottom of your bag. So it still provides the structure with the interfacing, but use up your little pieces instead of throwing them away. I never throw any of my interfacing away unless it's like this size or smaller. I keep it. Alright, bottom is sewn on this side. Grab the other side. This is our dual slip pocket. We're going to sew the bottom onto that. So in here, she came across my FYP, but followed her on the other platforms too. Thanks, Melissa. Hi, Nikki Lynn. Now I can't stop watching. Bottom is sewn on. I'm going to take my pinking shears, get rid of some of the excess fabric so you can kind of see where my stitch line is. All this fabric above that is just excess fabric, and I just don't want that in my lining, so I'm just going to trim it down. The reason I don't do this to the exterior is because I want that excess fabric there for when I flip it. Remember how we flipped it over and then we did a top stitch? We want that excess fabric to be able to stitch down. So I'm just going to take some of this extra fabric out of the interior. I'm new to sewing, got one for Christmas. Congrats! I love hearing that. If I could make everybody sew, I would, because it's such a great life, I want to say lesson technique. It's just such a great thing to know. So congrats. Do it, Nikki. Do it. All right, we're going to take our side pieces, sew that to the bottom. I've told this story before, but about 10 years ago, I literally woke up one day, it was a Saturday, and I was like, I want to learn how to sew. Went to, then it was Joann, bought a sewing machine, bought some fabric, spent way too much money on the fabric, knowing what I know now. Thread, scissors, iron, I think that's all I got, thread, scissors, iron. Oh, and a measuring tape. Watched a couple YouTubes, made a couple skirts to start, because those are super easy, and could not stop sewing ever since. All right, just like the outside, we're going to pull up front and back, connect them to our sides. It's a little intimidating in watching unboxing videos where no help. I don't know if I unbox it. You're gonna kick yourself in 6 months if you haven't unboxed that sewing machine. I usually make blankets, need a handbag, so I usually watch tutorials. I love that, Melissa. Life skill, yes. Extra reviews on this thing are heavy. Yeah, I've heard different things about that. It's a good starter machine though. And before I bought this monstrosity, I used beginner sewing machines. I had a Singer Curvy. So especially if you're new, it's okay if you have a basic machine. You don't want to buy something expensive, especially if you're just learning how to sew, mess it up. So it's good to have a starter. Think about when you first started driving a car. Like, we were poor, so I didn't get the option of having a brand new car. I had a used car. But I was able to learn and make mistakes in that used car, and then when I was good enough to drive, I bought myself a brand new car. So it's okay. My son keeps asking, like, some of those hoodies that people cut. Yeah. There's so much you can do with sewing. So much you can do. We move a lot because we're a military family, and I usually have to sew new curtains because the window sizes are different. That's something that I have done every single new place that we have moved to. Just little things that you don't think of. think my next big project outside of my bag making is to sew like a cover for our couch. We have this really nice couch that our dogs aren't allowed to get on, and I kind of want to let them start getting on the couch. And so I told my husband, if I make a couch cover, can we have them up there? And he said yeah. So that's going to be my next big project, because it's a big couch and it's really deep. So it's not like, it was custom built. It's not something that I could just go on Amazon, which you can do for a lot of stuff. But knowing how to sew, there's just so many ways that you can use it. Okay, our interior is all done now that I'm done talking. So what we're going to do is take our exterior. Remember how I said this is sewn inside out? So we're gonna turn this inside out. Don't worry if you get any wrinkles on here, we're gonna get those out at the end. And if you use Peltex on the bottom of your bag, it will wrinkle. That's just natural with turning it inside out. But we can get rid of those. All right, let me get this straightened out. You want to make sure that all of your hardware, that the tops of them are pointed down so you don't accidentally sew over those. So I'm just making sure they all are. They are. So we have this turned inside out. We're going to turn this right side out. I used to work with a lot of military wives and sewing factory. No, I haven't done that. We haven't really stayed anywhere long enough. It's usually like a year here, 2 years there. Our last station was 3 years, but it was Hawaii, so we were limited to do a lot of stuff because you're just on one island. All right, remember, we're turning our bag right side out through this pocket, so you want to make sure that that pocket is open. We're going to tuck this inside. I'm going to start by first lining up my side seams. Flip that. Flip that, come over here, find my side seams, line those up, clip it in place, and then we'll just go around for the rest of the bag, clipping everything together. How long will y'all be in Virginia? I think this is 3 years. I believe this is 3 years. That's just my iron going off. How do you always come up with such beautiful ideas for bags? I don't know. My brain never stops. Okay, so our inside and outside are clipped together. I'm just going to sew all the way around the top to combine the two. Let me get my tension right. I'm gonna grab me a sip of water real quick. Girl, me too. Brenda. I feel like it's never gonna end. Thanks, Chanteshi. Will this eventually be on YouTube? Yes, it will be. I upload all of my lives to my YouTube. So yes, later this evening, I'll download this video and it'll be there so you can rewatch it. Or if you missed the beginning, you can go back and watch the beginning. Do I sell the bags? Yes, they're all on my website. I'm just opening up my side seam for the interior. So we're just gonna stitch and turn, making sure everything's lined up. Bag inside another bag is hard work, yes. Yes, I'm on there too, Nikki. All of my lives I put up there. That's mainly what I use it for. All right, almost back to the beginning. That's just stitched together all the way around. And then now we're just going to pull out our lining. go into that zipper pocket we left open, and then just push it through. I guess her personality too that keeps me coming back. Thanks, Melissa. We're making vinyl straps. How do you avoid back stitching? I do back stitch on my vinyl straps. I haven't seen your live in what seems forever. I've been live. I mean, I took off last week, but I've been live. How many bags can you typically make in a day? It depends. So like bags that are easier to make, like this one, takes a lot less time than like this bag, just because of all of the different pieces. So it really just depends. But I would say on average about 3 to 4 bags a day. So I'm just gonna go nice and slow. I'm not going to rush this. I don't wanna break through that zipper overlay, which has never happened to me before. My pockets are generally wide enough where that doesn't happen. And again, don't worry about the wrinkles you get outside your bag. You want to fix those. Matter of fact, let me turn my iron on now. All right, it's out. So now I just gotta straighten everything out. What bag is that one? So this is the big B pattern. So this is the regular big B. This is the little B. I just reduced the size of it. Do I sell a lot? Yes. You're fast for 3 to 4 bags. I could only do 2. I mean, 2 bags is still good, depending on, like I said, depending on how hard they are. All right, let's get our lining tucked in, get everything straightened out. I'm gonna go ahead and sew my pocket shut. And remember how we folded that down so that we had nice finished edges at the end? So now all we have to do is clip it together and sew it. Just get it lined up. And then we're going to tuck that back in. Phone call. You should make this bag. I love it. Do you use the same vinyl for the lining as well as the outside? Yeah, so the vinyl accent pieces that I use, like this zipper overlay, is a navy blue, which is the exact same for the outside. The accent piece for this little slip pocket is navy blue. It's the same blue that's on the outside, if that's what you're asking. Okay, so I'm just going to line up the inside and outside, clip everything in place, and that way we can do a top stitch around the outside. So see how kind of like the inside and outside doesn't have a real definitive edge? I just roll it to get everything lined up and then place some clips to keep it in place. And then we're going to roll down our zipper panel. Make sure everything is pushed up, and then we're going to roll down our zipper panel, clip that in place all the way around. What is the name of that bag? This is called the Becca. That's the style. Thanks, Stacy. Uh-oh. Sounds like my niece is awake. There we go. So that is all clipped down. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So remember, somebody asked me earlier about doing a drop-in lining, and you can definitely do it. Just know that your zipper will be up like this instead of tucked down. Now you could always, after you sew it together, you could always tuck down your zipper and add another stitch around if you like that look. If that doesn't make sense to you, it's okay. It was a question that somebody asked me earlier. The pattern is called the Becca, and that's on my website, butterbags.com. You want to just click on the menu under DIY and go to digital patterns. And you can purchase this pattern and make this bag. Have you made a smaller Becca bag? I have not. I have not. I find that it's a really good size. But I think a smaller bag would be cute too. I'm just making sure my interior is all pressed down. So see how we got those wrinkles on the bottom? All I do is grab my iron. Now be careful because you have vinyl accent pieces in here. You do not want to touch vinyl with your iron or it will melt. So I just kind of swan dive and hit it with a little bit of steam. Do the same thing on this side. You cannot iron vinyl or it will melt. So if you have wrinkles in the bottom of your vinyl, you can't iron it. But if you just go on the inside, it'll remove all those. And then now I'm just going to top stitch around the outside. It's quite a few layers, so I need to just dial my tension up a little bit more. Do I sell the pattern for the brown and white bag? I do. However, so the regular size of this pattern is available. It just has a cut list, so just measurements listed down. There's no pattern pieces. I'm adding the pattern pieces where you can scale it down to this size probably Monday of next week. I have a mini iron. This iron is perfect for this size because I'm able to get it into the corners. The mini iron I actually use for like my Lola. I don't think I have one up here, but that would just be another plug that would be taking up space. If you only knew how many wires and plugs I have around here. All right, set this down. I do have a mini little craft iron though. I just never use it. And I find that those little mini irons, they don't get nearly as hot as like traditional irons. Just making sure all of my hardware is still pressed down so I don't sew over it. Alright, I'm almost back to the beginning. Do you find it? Jennifer B, I do. Do you find it takes more time to cut them out than sew them? No. It definitely takes longer to sew than to cut, but it does take some time to cut. Could you put a snap closure? Yeah, of course. Now I want to make a handbag. Do it. Alright, coming back to the beginning, I'm just going to slow down so that way my stitches meet. There we go. Oh, I think I barely made it. My bobbin must be... I don't sell the materials. Nope, my bobbin is empty, so I just made it back to the beginning. Barely. Look at that. I don't know if you'll be able to see. That tiny little piece right here was my bobbin. I don't think you can see it. But anyways, I just made it through. Praise be. Alright, let me trim that down. And then we have to make our shoulder straps. So that is what it looks like. Big old pocket, big old pocket. We got our crossbody strap connector. We have to make our crossbody strap, shoulder straps, and then we'll be done. Let me just get my bobbin rewound. What in the hell? I'm making a tool bag for my shark hair. Oh, nice. Finally cut. Hey, Crochet by Laura. Jen, I haven't started wearing them yet. This is a Juki 1181. I'm not sure. Is that showing that somebody's out? Is it showing that somebody else is on the screen? That was weird. That's so weird. Does anybody remember the name? Because it was like automatically done. So I'm hoping it's not one of my moderators. All right, it's gonna get just a little loud for a second. Sandy. Oh. Yeah, I haven't started wearing my glasses yet. I do sometimes when I read, but not all the time. That's good enough. Oh. And I just dropped it. Sorry, I didn't mean to join the live. It wouldn't let me watch without clicking live. That was so bizarre. It's okay. Thanks for telling me what happened, because I was like, well, what is going on? Okay. Let's get everything set up. Hi, Melissa. Thanks for hanging out. All right, shoulder strap, crossbody strap. Those are easy breezy. They usually come together pretty quickly. I have everything cut and prepped. So I'm just going to add some double-sided tape. Fold it up and sew it down. Thanks, Sherry. Let's just do this. All right, so we're going to fold down just like we did our shoulder strap connectors to get a nice finished edge. We're going to do the same thing on these straps. Way towards the center. The only difference is that we're doing it on both sides, both ends. How long does it take you to make a bag? Between an hour and 2 hours. I'm French, I don't understand your language, but I look at your video. Thanks. How many more bags are you gonna make today? Okay, Jen. On live, this is the only bag. It's been like an hour and a half since I started. So this is the only bag that I'm making on live today, but I still have a lot of other stuff to make. I have a couple wallets that I have to restock, and I think a notebook holder. What's today, Wednesday? I'm gonna try to come back on Friday and do like an afternoon live. All right, let me change my tension. Stitch length's good. Sew this down. Bye, Susan. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. coming back up. Alright, that one is done. So that's what it looks like. I feel like there's like a delay on the screen. No? Feels weird. There is. Okay. Yeah, I figured that. That happened after Sandy came live. I wonder what happened. That was the most bizarre. There is. It was. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's slower. I'm gonna have to mess around with these settings when I get off live, because I can't have some, not Sandy. Sandy apologized, and I appreciate that, but I can't have some random person just jumping in my live. That would be weird. Do you use special tape? Yeah, this is called leather tape, double-sided leather tape. I get mine from Wawak, WAWAK.com. They have all different sizes too. I use 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, depending on what I'm using it for. So for my straps, I use 1/2 inch. All right, other strap is done. Are your bags leather or vinyl? They are vinyl. They are faux leather. All right, let me grab my bag. I'm just threading it through my D-ring. Clipping it in place, just like that. Gonna do that, clip it in place. I don't know if you can tell, there's just like right here, there's a little bit of sewing machine oil that gets on the bag. It won't hurt the bag. If it does anything, it's just gonna condition it, but I saw it in a couple places. But it comes, I usually use my clothes and wipe it off. So that's it. So I have a YouTube, I do. It's under butter bags. Oh. All right. Let's make sure everything is lined up. It is. I'm gonna grab some rivets to secure them in place. I'm just going to poke through both layers. And add my rivets. Just like that. And I'll go ahead and add the other 3. Flip it over. Thanks, Judy. last one. Use special cameras to record your lives or just your phone? My phone. Just my phone. Nothing special. All right, let me get my press. There's other tools that you can use to secure your rivets. This is the easiest one, but there are other tools that aren't this big or fancy, especially if you're just starting out. You do this so fast. How long have you been doing them? I've been sewing for about 10 years. There we go. So that's what it looks like done. And then all I need to make is the crossbinding strap. And the way that I sell this bag, I use the same vinyl. Let me just get this cleaned up a little bit. That's trash. Get all these clips out of my way. I'm just going to add double-sided tape. This is long. This is 54, I believe 54 inches. So much longer than the shoulder straps. And then we're just going to fold it up the exact same way we did our shoulder straps, just a little bit longer. Alright, so we're going to fold up the bottom to give us the finished edge. And then fold in each side to that center. I use a clip on the corner. And then just keep folding all the way down. Down and over. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing. There we go. Okay, and then we sew. Do you have future plans to make laptop bags? Immediate future, no. Is it something I can do? Yeah. I know I've made a laptop bag before. And I think the reason why I stopped doing it is because they were very time consuming and expensive. So I kind of reserved those for custom orders. But I've added, like, I know I've done a custom bag. I can't remember who it was for, but I believe I used like the, I can't remember. I made a bag and added like a laptop pocket with the little strap that goes over top of it. I can modify bags. I made a custom order. I can't remember what bag it was for though. Just checked out your website. Thanks. I think that requires some hefty foam inside. Not necessarily. Not hefty foam. Regular foam, I think, is what I use. I may have used fusible fleece for the lining for that side with the laptop. remember what style it was, but I know I made a custom order. I know it's in my butter bags group. I posted pictures of it when I was done. All right, so here's our crossbody strap, which is just a really long shoulder strap. We're gonna grab some hardware, put it together, and then we are done, son. A little under 2 hours. All right, so on one end, doesn't matter which, we're going to take our buckle. It's also called a tri-glide. We're going to thread that through the bottom, thread it through the top of the bar, just like that, and then secure it with a punch. Again, there's more than one way to make these and attach them. I've seen several ways that came out the same, but it was just so awkward the way they did that. This to me is the simplest way. Put it around the bar, add a little rivet. Grab my press. All right, secure the rivet. Okay. We're gonna thread this piece back through the top. I wanna make sure that it is not twisted though. So I'm gonna just straighten it all the way out, all the way down. We're gonna add one of our lobster clasps. That's just gonna be suspended. It does not get locked in place anywhere. And then with our material, again, non-twisted, we're gonna thread it back through the top of that buckle. And you can always pull it all the way through just to make sure that this is not twisted or bent. We want everything nice and flat. And then we're going to take this other side and put it through the top. There we go, just like that. And then we're going to, so this is going to be a way to make it smaller or longer. That's what makes it adjustable, that part right there. We're gonna take our other lobster clasp, thread that through, fold it over, add a rivet to lock that in place. And that's it. Thanks, Erica. Secure that rivet. Add the crossbody to the connector. And that is how you make the big V. That's what the bottom looks like. Zipper closure. And then again, we have that dual slip pocket, a large side right here, and then a smaller one over here. And then we have our zipper pocket. Thank you guys. Nice wide bag. You can add a ton of stuff to this. Thank you guys. All right, that's all I got. So we're done. I have a little piece of thread. I'm just going to singe down right here. There we go. That's it. I'm gonna run. My next live is gonna be Friday. I want to do it probably. I don't think I have anything going on in like the later afternoon, so maybe like 4. I'm not sure. If you're in one of my Facebook groups, either my pattern group or my butter bags group, I'll make a post just like I did today to give you a heads up. Can you make a wallet with sugar skull? I don't think I have any of that fabric, but if you want to email me, Shannon, I can look for it. My email is info@butterbags.com. Thanks, Sherry. Bye, Dewana. Bye, Elle. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will see you on Friday. Bye.